All right, well, hello and welcome back to Animal Training Development Center. Today I am out at one of our favorite parks to train in, and we are going to show you all the things that Sweet Pea learned and how she's doing. So um, we'll just go ahead and get started. And the first thing that we always teach every dog is this idea that you should never get to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. We call it the unspoken command, because technically I don't feel like I should have to say something to make a dog understand not to pull me. And so the way that we do that is we're just going to give her release word, and her word is break. And then as she starts to wander around, she can do whatever she wants so long as the leash doesn't get to the end. So right there, I just proactively give a little tug back to teach her not to get to the end of the leash. And we've been doing that a lot with our walk. She's doing really pretty well. Of course, Sweet Pea's a very young dog at about 6 months old, and that just means she doesn't have a lot of life experience. And so she gets very excited when she sees other dogs and kids and bikes and people, and just all those things are new to her, and she's very excited naturally. However, she's showing a lot of good potential to developing into a very mature and very well-trained dog. So I'm very excited for her future and excited to be a part of that. So if I start to walk away, see how she got up and start to follow, and as I go this way, she kind of follows. That's the idea. And when you start practicing this at home, I generally recommend people start even inside their own house with this idea of what we call the umbilical cord training method. And the concept here is I want you to spend maybe just 15 minutes a day putting her on leash and collar, have all her gear on her, and just take her through your paces, whether it be in the morning or the evening. If you're gonna go to the refrigerator and get something to drink, you just don't say anything. You have her on leash and you just start walking that direction. If she gets near the end of the leash, what we want to do is proactively tug the opposite direction she's going right before she reaches the end, so that she learns not to reach the end of the leash at any time for any reason. Once you've had that drink, you can head back to maybe the living room to watch some TV, and she goes along with you. While you watch TV, she can do whatever she wants within the length of the leash that you've given her. So in this case, she's got a 6-foot leash. She can go 5.5 feet out and lay down, or she can sit there and look at you if she wants. She just can't get to the end of the leash. Maybe a little bit later you decide you want to go back and get something to eat, and once again, that transition, she should fall in and behind or out in front. It really doesn't matter so long as she stays on a loose leash. The next thing we get into is a simple sit command, and I always joke and say 99% of the dogs I've ever trained already know what sit means, but 99% of the dog I train don't sit the way they're supposed to, because people teach the trick sit, and usually it's with a treat or what have you, and that's fine. It teaches them what sit means, and nothing wrong with that. But to make them understand that sit is something they're supposed to do and keep doing until we tell them to stop doing, that's more high-level training that we're doing with Sweet Pea. So let me get her attention over here. Sweet Pea, come here. Sits. The German word for sit is sits. We just put an S on the end of it, and we've trained her in German. So now that she's in the sit command, if I start to walk a circle around her, she should hold that position. If I were to drop something in front of her, again, she should hold that position. 9, sits. If she stops sitting, we use the word 9, that's the German word for no. Place her back into the sit by pivoting her head up and her butt down, and then repeat the command sits. And that's a sequence with every command we teach. So whether it's Fuß, which is our heel command, Platz, which is the down, all those would be words that we use. If she does them, we praise them. If not, we correct. Oops, 9, sits. Now let's go ahead and tell her Platz. 9, Platz. Good, good. The German word for good is good, so you can just use that one. Once we are good with the sit and the down, we want to go ahead and practice the Fuß command. Now, the Fuß command, I've always said, is the most important command we teach any dog to do, no matter what their future job may be. So in Sweet Pea's case, she's eventually going to become a well-trained personal protection dog, and she's going to have a lot of skill sets that are above and beyond the Foos command, but still the Foos command is the most important because it's going to really make her learn that she needs to focus on you as her leader, step for step, stride for stride, no matter what's around her or what's in your path. And so as I give this command, I'm going to line up in the Foos position, and I'll show you that the opposite direction so you can see better. But basically I'm looking for my paw, or my paws, her paws and my feet to be parallel with each other, and her right paw should fall in line with my left foot on each stride. So we're just going to go ahead and Foos, 9, Foos. If she gets out ahead, you just say the word 9 and turn the opposite direction. Good. She should sit automatically at the end of the Foos command, so just like she did there. If she didn't sit right there, I would have said 9 sits as if I'd already said it, because in essence I did when my body stopped moving. So the Foos is in effect. It's almost like clocking into work until you are done and you clock out. Well, her clocking in is doing the Foos command, and then her clocking out is when I stop and she sits. Let's try that one again. Foos. Good. 9, Foos. Very nice, good girl. We can go ahead and do another Platz. If she doesn't, I'm glad she didn't, so I can show you the technique. We just say 9, Platz. Just gonna step on that leash a little bit, maybe a little angle in that direction to kind of leading her to the ground and in that Platz position. We've also taught her signals. So the hand signal for the Platz is just above her head like that, flat palm down. We taught her that with the Foos, if I lead with my outside foot, and so for Sweet Pea, my outside foot is my right foot, the furthest one away from her. My inside foot is my left foot, the closest foot to her. So she's being trained to Foos on the left side, and so that's the way it works for her. If I lead with my outside foot, she should stay put. That's my little rhyme, helps people remember. Outside foot, stay put. Inside foot, if I lead with this foot, she should fall in even if I don't say the word. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, little bug, let her get that. All right, here we go. Good. Good, Sweet Pea. There you go. 9 sits. That time she didn't sit at the end, so you saw how I did that. And she's a young dog. You're going to get to practice these a lot yourself. Just because she doesn't have a lot of life experience, and we need to keep doing this. She's done great for a 10-day boot camp, but there's a lot of life left to live and a lot more learning to do. Once again, if I leave my outside foot, this time she should stay put in the sit position. Very nice. And then one more time leading with my inside foot. There we go. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Sits. Good. I like this area. We call it training on the rocks, because that's a lot of times what we do. And as you probably are aware, Malinois are super athletic dogs. I got a picture of her standing on my back porch table. How she got up there, I guess she just leaped straight up, but it's a good 4 foot tall. And one day I walked out to let her in, and she's just standing on top of that table like a beautiful picture. And she's done that a couple times actually. So we use the word hup whenever we want her to jump onto something. So over here I can just say hup. Good girl. And as you can see, that's no problem for her. Rock training is great because it's almost like when we train the place command. They can kind of do what they want unless I put them in a command mode. So here she can walk around on it. She just shouldn't get off of it until I give her the release word. Break. Good girl. Hup. That's right. Sits. Good. Now this time she's in that sits command, so she can't just do whatever else she wants. She has to hold that sits command. And you can do different things. I don't recommend dropping the leash at this stage in her training, although you probably could get away with it out here today. There's not too much going on. But if there were people walking their dogs behind us and stuff like that, every dog has their kryptonite. And Superman was super strong till he got around kryptonite, right? And dogs all have something. My German Shepherd is squirrels. For your dog, it's other dogs. But the good news is her obsession with other dogs isn't about dominance and isn't about going out there trying to pick fights with everybody. She's kind of a party animal when it comes to other dogs, and we've got video we show you. She plays with everybody, and she plays well, and she plays hard, and she has fun. So that's a fun-loving spirit. But even so, if she sees another dog, like when we walked out here earlier today, there was somebody out there playing frisbee with their dog, and she's almost obsessed with the idea of getting over there, even when it's 50 yards away. And that's just what her kryptonite is. Every dog has one, and it seems like for her, it's other dogs. Break, good girl, super nice. For the German word to come, you say here, so it's almost like saying come. You just say here, and here is a position in relationship to your body too. So when I say here, I want her to come right about there and sit to face me. Here, if she sits crooked, you can just back up a few steps, try again. Here, that's better. That's kind of what I want. That way, if I need to put gear on her or I need to put a leash on her, she's there facing me and it's easy to do, and that's the right posturing for that here command. So let's do one more Fuß. Good. A little slow, but she got it done, so I gave her a little extra time that time. As they get older, I don't give as much time. I want, as soon as I stop, to see that butt at least heading in the right direction. She just kind of hesitated there for a couple seconds longer than I normally like. But again, at her age, the fact that she got around to it is still a really good sign, so I let that go. Platz. Good. 9. Platz. There we go. Good. Here. Excellent. Fuß. Hup. Good girl. Very nice. Well done. So I want to kind of wrap it up with telling you about, I think, her future potential in protection work. She has a nice balance of what we call prey drive and defense drives. So it's in there. At her age, you know, they're often very naive and they really don't understand what's a threat and what's not, sort of thing, and we're really not looking to press that yet. But to see that those drives are, you know, in there, I could tell just by the way she would react to sudden things, the way she, in my own backyard, even after a few days, would bark very assertively when the neighbors came out and she could see, sort of thing. So that's, you know, that kind of drive that you look for in a dog that could later be trained in bite work. And so I know that she's got it in there. We just will tap into it as she gets a little bit older. Meanwhile, you get a private lesson that goes with your package that you've already paid for. And so I would like you to just watch the video, maybe even a couple of times, practice the umbilical cord thing, you know, 15 minutes a day, maybe just 2-3 days of that would be good. Start taking her on walks, and a lot of the walking isn't designed to be Fuß the whole time. So when you do your Fuß command, maybe, you know, 2-3 minutes at a time of that, and then just give her the word break after she sits, of course, and she can go out in front. That's what she likes to do, and there again, that's a good sign for a dominant style dog. They'll always want to be out in front, and that's fine so long as she maintains leash without getting tight. That's great. And she also, like a lot of Malinois and a lot of German Shepherds I've trained, she's a lot of back and forth, and that's good. I kind of like her casting back and forth in front of me as long as she's not reaching the end of the leash in any way. Sometimes she'll run a full circle around me, and that's fine too. I just kind of lasso my way around and get her back in front and just let her kind of run off a lot of energy. And at the same time she's running off all that energy, as she gets out in the world like this, she's going to start to get life experience. And so local parks, places like that you can go are good. I avoid dog parks. I think dog parks are just not great because of dog park dogs and dog park dog owners sometimes who just don't pay attention, and you just don't want your dog out there getting into negative experiences. So just beware that socialization is good so long as it's good socialization. We just don't want to have her exposed to real negative type of things that are going to give her some issues later on. And so avoiding, dogs that are going to be aggressive or people that are too weird right now would be, helpful for training. Of course, you don't always know until it's too late, but you just don't go out and go to a place where you know that there's going to be that kind of people and other dogs. But I'm really excited for her future. We're going to splice into this video some training that we've done out here before. We got a group night that we do out here, and you're going to be invited to start joining in on those. And we are going to continue her progress. Really excited. So thanks for your trust in us. And as always, we like to wish you and everybody else happy training. Break. Well, good morning and hello. Here we are back again at Animal Training Development Center, and today we're going to do an introduction to tracking for these two dogs. So we have Sweet Pea here on our right. She's about a 6-month-old Malinois. And over here we have Oscar. You might not be able to see so much in the shadows, but he's a bit older dog, and I think he's going to enjoy learning to do tracking as well. Some of the gear that you'll need in the early stages of tracking are some treats of some sort, and nothing like some good old-fashioned beef jerky to get a dog motivated to find things. You'll need a 6-foot leash and a couple of marking flags. You'll see how we use these as we set up the tracks. And then later you'll need a longer tracking type line. The regulations are like 42 feet for Schützensport, but you can use even like a 20-foot line to get started and letting the dog get out ahead of you a little bit on the track. But initially you want to keep them closer to you so that you can help coach a little bit better. And we're going to show you how to lay a track, and then we're going to show you how the dogs do. So stay tuned. All right, so we're out here where we're going to lay our track, and you want to kind of pay attention to the wind. Today we don't have much wind to speak of. In fact, I can't feel wind coming from any direction right now, so it doesn't matter so much. But if it were windy, we want to lay a track into the wind initially. Optionally, you could lay a track crosswind and you could lay a track downwind, but to start off a dog, you want to make it as easy as possible on them. And so we're going to lay it into the wind, and we'll show you how to make a scent pad, and then I'll lay a track and see how they do. So I'm going to give my camera over to my trusty partner here and let her film me. So as I go out, what I'm looking to start is what we call a scent pad. So we want to stomp out a square into the ground facing the direction that we want to run our track. So I'm just going to stomp all over here, maybe 2 foot by 2 foot square. This is putting my scent all over the pad. And we're going to go ahead and place one of these marker flags so that I remember where my scent pad is. And we're going to go ahead and drop a couple of treats in that scent pad to get this dog pretty motivated for the rest. So we've got some beef jerky here, and you don't have to use whole pieces. I like to break it down a little bit so they have to work a little bit to get at it, and that just gets their nose all the more connected with the scent. You can even tap those in a little bit if you want to. We want the dogs not just looking for treats ultimately, but to associate the broken grass and the scent that the grass makes coming up with it. And then as we start to walk, we're going to put treats in each track. So as I step forward, I'm going to go ahead and step heavy. This isn't how you would normally walk, but again, we're trying to make this as easy as possible on the dog starting out. Put a treat right under the toe there. Next step, same idea. Maybe another treat here. And then we're just going to skip a treat, lay a treat. You also want to have a point in mind. Go ahead and pan out there. See that pipe out there in the background? That's the direction I'm heading, and I want to try to make sure I'm going in a straight line. Today won't matter so much, but when you lay tracks and later come back and can't remember yourself how the track goes, it's happened to me before. It's pretty embarrassing when you don't even know how to coach your dog because you're not even sure where the track is. So we're just stepping directly toward that pipe so that I know when I go back and bring the dog out that that's exactly the direction that this track is going to be laid. I'm alternating sides that I'm putting the treat on, because ultimately what we're looking to have the dogs do in this type of tracking is really finding each and every footprint. And this is good for dogs that are going to come back and try to find items that might be lost by somebody. If you have been robbed and somebody took off with some of your stuff and you're hoping to find some of it along the way, this is the type of tracking you want to do versus air tracking. If I was doing search and rescue, it doesn't make sense to find a person's every step all the time. If a dog put their nose up in the air and figure out how to shortcut their way directly to the person, then air scent tracking is sometimes the way to go. But this is designed, like I say, to try to find retrieved items that a dog might be able to find for you, and to know exactly where a person went and how they got there is sometimes helpful. So you want to ultimately train both styles of tracking, but this is the one we're going to start with here. We're not laying any scent articles today because this is the dog's first time doing it. Finding the treats is the scent article that we're doing. But as time goes on, you can drop things. Specifically in Schützensport, we had wood items, metal items, and cloth items that would be dropped along tracks that the dogs had to find. That's a pretty good length of track for the beginning. I'm just going to go ahead and finish up with one more scent pad here and put a couple of rewards for the end. So the dog has found all the steps and now they get their big reward. You can, with some dogs, have a toy at the end. You could have other types of rewards. Maybe your dog's favorite thing is a ball, something that they find at the end that makes it worth their while to get all the way there. For young dogs and treat-oriented dogs, the beef jerky is a great discovery, and to have this little pile at the end makes it all worth their while. So we're going to let this track age. It's important that you let it age. Initially speaking, I would say 15 to 20 minutes is a good amount of time to let a track age. And as time goes on, you want to let them age longer so that the dog learns how to use its nose even as the track gets a little bit older. But you want to just marinate here a little bit, maybe 15-20 minutes, and then we'll bring Sweet Pea back out here to see how she does. So stay tuned. All right, so Michelle is now laying our second track and stopping in the scent pad beginning. Try to make it like 2 feet by 2 feet. There you go. That's it. Flag always goes to the top left corner of the pad. There you go. Yep. There's no rule in where you place the flag, but if you place the flag the same place every time, that's a big help later on, knowing right where your scent pad is. So I always place mine in the upper left-hand corner, and that way I know kind of where the box is. And now we're stomping in the treats. You don't want to put it in every one, so just maybe skip a couple And then just alternate where you put the treats. So you can see that we've got this tree marking our forward progress, and the flag, of course, marking the back, so we kind of will remember the angle. It's also nice when you can see mower cutting lines like we have here, kind of keeping you in between the two lines, kind of keeping you straight. But you don't want to come out and track right after they've cut the grass, because ultimately what the dogs are able to determine is it's where this grass is broken is where people have stepped. It's not necessarily just the scent of a person's shoe that they're picking up on, but disturbances in the ground, disturbances of the grass that is broken as it's walked over is really kind of important for them to connect with while they're tracking. And if you come out here right after they cut the grass, then of course it all smells that way, and it makes it kind of washed out for the dog's nose. So you don't want to come out right after they've cut grass and track. But in this case, you could tell the grass hasn't just been cut, and we can still see the mower lines, and that's kind of a nice, you know, benefit for us as people, because we can't smell the scent of the track, remembering where the track is laid. So right now we're just doing straight tracks, and that's always the way you want to start with a new dog. Over time, of course, you are going to put turns in there, and as we get further along into tracking, I'll show you guys how to do that. Good. All right, so we're gonna let these tracks age. Oh, and when you walk off a track, of course, you don't want to walk across into your other track. So you're gonna walk backwards toward that tree quite a bit, and then walk straight off the property, because we don't want to cross track our tracks. So we've got one laid here and the other one laid here, and we're just now going to walk and let these marinate for 15 to 20 minutes and come back and see how the dogs do. Stay tuned. All right, so the track is marinated for about 20 minutes. We're going to go ahead and get Sweet Pea out here and take her up to the scent pad and get her started. Okay, good girl, good girl. All right, so we use the German words with Sweet Pea's training, and so the German word for track is Zug. And so as I come up to the scent pad, I'm going to go ahead and say that word and see if we can't get her motivated on these treats. Zug. Zug. Look. Zug. Good. Good, Zug. Good girl. There you go. Good, Zug. Good. There we are. Zug. Good. All I'm trying to do is keep her from turning back around. I want her to keep working her way down the track, so I don't want her to backtrack. There's more treats to be found as she goes forward. There we go. Zug. Good. Good girl. If they miss some, it's no big deal. Just try to get them in the habit of just moving up the track. Good, Zug. There you go. Yes, Zug. Zug. Yes. Good, Zug. There we go. If they miss some, it's no big deal. Right now, I just want her to discover that these things just keep appearing. If she keeps working her way forward, there's always more to be found right now. Later we want to slow them down, make sure they don't miss any. But for right now, getting them started, the most important thing is just try to keep them straight. There we go. There's the end. Good girl. Good girl. And you could, if you wanted to, now that the track is finished, let her go back and pick up some of those scraps. There'll still be some association there, but I find that it's better to not. I find it's better for them to figure out later, you know, they missed a few that they could have got if they just slowed themselves down and focused a little bit more. And so we're just going to go ahead and let her finish up these ones on the end pad here, and we're just going to walk her back out to the van, away from the other track and away from what's remaining on this one. You can go back, let's say that she left a lot like she did this time, and run the same track again. She'll pick up some more information as she goes back over that track a second time. So maybe we'll do that with her before we pack out of here.
No.
Plots. Plots. 9. Plots. 9. 9. Sits. 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 Just do the sits with her. Yep. Sits. Back. Yep. 9. Sits. Sits. 9. Sits. 9. Sits. 9. Sits. 9. Sits. Good. Good girl. Plots. All right. One more for Oscar now. One loop. 9. Plots. 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 We always say every dog has their kryptonite, and for her, it's other dogs, but at least she's not aggressive towards other dogs. She just wants to play really, really, really bad. Really, really bad.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a Malinois, shelter, from the shelter.
Start to settle in. No. What are you doing?
And if you want to move around kind of behind me, and we can get some video of the group a little bit. 9. Plots. 9. Plots. 9. Nine. Plots. 'Plots. Very good. All right, Sozo. Good girl. Good girl. Nine. Plots. It's a sheepadoodle thing. Good job, Terry. All right. Foos. 9. Foos. Foos. Foos.
Now, his did fold like that.
Foos.
Oh, they did. Oh, but not.
All right. Foos. Foos. Good. Good girl. Good. Foos. 9. Foos. Good. Sits. 9 sits. Platz. All right, so there's our warm up. We've got a beautiful night. We got, oh, nope, Platz. No, Platz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, perfect. So let's see. 9 plus. What we're going to do is we're going to take a walk around the Y, and half of us are going to go around this direction. The other half are going to go around this direction. And when we meet in the backside somewhere, we're going to want to heel pass each other's dogs, go about 30 yards, stop, turn around, come back against each other's dogs again, go about 30 yards, stop, turn around, and back across each other's dogs a third time, and then we'll just finish up back here. Along the way, take opportunities to get off the trail and let people jog by, walk by. If they got dogs, we can do that sort of thing. You know, so whatever opportunity is there, we're going to do that sort of stuff. No. Plots. Very nice. Good. Foos. Foos.
How old is this one?
6 months. Acts like it kind of young. No. Foos. Foos. No. Foos. Foos. No. Foos. 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 9. Foos. Foos. Sits.
Down.
Good girl. Good.
Okay, right here. Down.
Good. Good. Sits. 9. Sits.
Stay. Stay. Good boy.
Are our goal.
Sits.
Come on.
9 sits. 9 sits. 9 sits.
Why do we cry?
It's a cruel, cruel world.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. That's a dog that wants to play with me.
It's a cute puppy.
Actually, he's kind of like your dog, except he's the big brother. He's only 6 months old. Sits.
Cute, but
Ye-
I see a lot of pit bull face.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, yep, for sure.
Stay. You hear me? Stay. Nope.
No, sits,
No.
sits.
Down.
Did you get him with a button on that one?
Didn't get a chance to.
Easy. Go. Sits.
Stay. Spook.
Good dog, Oscar. Good dog. Good dog, Sweet Pea. Nice. Break. Foos. 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 Well, hello and good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, I guess, whatever time you may be watching. We are on our 10th day with Sweet Pea. So today is her final day of training. She's done a great job with her obedience, and tracking is going pretty well. She's a very young dog and she has a very short attention span, and tracking is all about slowing down and focusing and just being very methodical. So it's a skill that dogs, all can learn to one degree or another. Sweet Pea has a very good nose, but at this age, her attention span is naturally going to be pretty short, and she has lots of other interests aside from food. So today we have a more challenging day for her final track. It's a lot windier than we've worked in before. And in addition to that, we've just got a lot of distractions around. In fact, I just saw a guy walk near my track that I laid with his dog, and we may end up with some interference from the scent of that dog, and the guy, I don't think he walked directly through the track, but parallel to it. So we'll see if that's going to be a bit of an issue. So we'll get her out here and see what she does. And even if a track goes bad once in a while, it doesn't mean that she's not learning. She finds some treats along the way, and the mind starts to make these associations over time. So when you're doing this, it's important to do it regularly. And if you lay, even just one track a day, it'll help. If you can lay 2 or 3 tracks a day, that helps a lot faster naturally. But it's maybe 10 minutes of laying the track. It's 15 minutes of waiting for the track to age, and then bringing her out there and letting her go through it. And all we're trying to do is kind of coach her from behind. Use that word souk as you approach the scent pad, make sure you've got, good selection of treats right on that pad to get her appetite whet and get her into the spirit of tracking. And then, just try to coach her through the rest of the track. And like I said in the first video, be sure you know where the track goes, because there's nothing worse than trying to coach a dog how to run a track only to find out that you're coaching them in the wrong direction. And I've done it myself. I think anybody's ever done tracking has had that happen. And it's handler error, and we don't have the capabilities that a dog has to be able to smell where the track goes. So you just make sure that you've got your starting mark, whether you use a flag like I do or whatever thing that you set up to let you know where that track starts. Make sure that you have in your vision a ending mark and something that's behind that keeps you directed. And today I used this soccer ball post. It's just anything in the background that stands out to you. You just lay your track moving toward that. Try to be sure in the initial stages, if there's wind, that you're going into the wind, and that's what we're doing today. So all those treats and scent along the track are coming at her, and ideally that helps her zone in and go right in the direction that the track is laid. We've been spacing the treats out a little bit further as she gets a little bit better at the tracking. But if it's windy like today, I made more treats in shorter steps, trying to keep her focus straight, and we'll see how that goes. As she gets better at it, of course, you want to start to space those treats out a little bit more once you see her nose literally going, from step to step, and that's ultimately what we're trying to condition her to do. So, you got your right foot, you got your left foot, you got your right foot, you got your left foot. And when you start to see that she's shifting back and forth between those footprints, looking for the next treat, then we're really, starting to see her get the idea. So the track maybe needs another 10 minutes to age. We'll get out and show you how she does. Wish us luck. Wish her luck. Sook. Good, Sook. Not that, Sook. Good, there you go. There you go. Good girl. Good. Sook. That's it. Good. There you go. Nice. You're doing it. Yeah, good job, Sook. Good girl. Yes, there you go. Sook. Good girl. Good girl. You found it. Good job. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. Good job. Good job. Awesome. Good, Sook. That was a good Sook. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, so that went really pretty well. I wish I would have ran it longer. She was on it pretty well. I thought I'd just keep it short to keep her motivated. But even now that we're off the track, you can see she's still in tracking mode, looking for more. So this is a good sign that she's gonna be a good tracker. She's motivated for the work. I literally put the beef jerky bag at the end as her motivation, and that's maybe a good tip for you too, to go ahead and have something special at the end of the track. For some dogs that's a ball or a squeak toy or something like that, and other dogs it's just more of the treats that you use, but maybe kind of like a jackpot reward worth of treats for them to motivate. But you see she's tracking all the way back to the van there, and really still in the spirit of things. So this is a good sign. She's going to be a good tracker, and more importantly, than being a good tracker. It really helps settle a Malinois's mind and gets them into a spirit of focus and concentration that really will benefit her in her other aspects as well. So, super stuff. Good dog. Good girl. All right, so we just completed the track, and as you could see, she was very spirited and motivated for the work. Even walking out to the flag, I think she could already smell the beef jerky blowing at her from the wind direction coming right at her, and so she got her nose to the ground and got those treats off the scent pad, and right away started working her way up the track, and was hitting left, rights, and doing a good job of staying relatively straight. I think she spun maybe one time around, and that can happen. They pass a treat and they go back and try to find it, but we don't want them too often doing that. We want them kind of really focus on getting to that jackpot, and a jackpot is maybe it's a toy at the end of the track that she really loves to play with. Maybe it's a jackpot reward in terms of a good number of treats there at the end for her to find. Today I used the empty beef jerky bag that still would have a lot of beef jerky scent on it, and if I hadn't used all the beef jerky on the track, I would have gone ahead and given her some out of that bag, and that's a good idea to have, like that kind of plan for the end of the track, to make it like a summation of congratulations, you did it, here's your big reward. It could even be one of her favorite squeak toys or something like that at the end of the track. So when you're doing this, you just want to try to stay inspirational, but you don't want to be so over the top that you build that energy to where the nose starts coming up and she starts getting too into your praise or into your energy. And so we're trying to keep her in that spirit of methodical concentration and inspiring her along the way. So I would praise her good Sook whenever she found a treat, and she's getting it. So this has just been an introduction to tracking. There's so much more involved in tracking that I could use up the whole battery life on this thing talking about tracking. But the important thing is just to do it regularly. So like I said before, if you can run 3 tracks a day, try to get her to a place that is undisturbed in terms of no recent cutting of the grass around there, no heavy foot traffic from people out moving around if you can avoid it. So you try to find that school, like this time of year. I like to go to schools because the kids aren't in school anymore, and they usually have a lot of grass around them and stuff like that. So in your neighborhood, I don't know where to have you go, but I'm sure you can think of some places not too far from where you live that you can lay tracks. You wouldn't want to necessarily do this in your own backyard, just because all the foot traffic through there from your dogs and stuff like that. So just try to get away from the house a little bit where you've got some open space, and lay 2-3 tracks a day if you have the time, and it will definitely help her, not just in tracking, but like I said before, it helps them learn to focus, and it builds their ability to stay focused and stay calm. And it's much like us maybe doing a crossword puzzle. People that do that regularly, even as they age, their brains stay sharper because you're exercising it. And tracking does a great job of exercising a dog's mind. And then, of course, practically speaking, it could come in really handy someday. I've actually used dogs to find lost dogs. It was fun. I used to do search and rescue training, and we never had anybody to rescue. Never once was there a human lost in Indiana that we needed to help find. But we were asked if we could help find a dog that gotten lost from their yard. elderly dog had just wandered away one day, and we were able to track it down and found that dog, and it was a it was a rewarding thing to do. But like I said, we're working with Sweet Pea and knowing that her future is going to be a personal protection dog. One of the things that often go with that is trying to find an individual that maybe broke into your house and ran off with some goods. And if you can find step for step where they go, maybe they drop stuff along the way for evidence, or you can reclaim your property that they may have lost. I had a client that didn't have a dog do it, but he saw the direction the guy ran off, and he was able to reclaim some of his stolen property because the guy dropped it as he was running away. Well, if he had a dog, he might have even found the guy eventually that had taken off with his stuff. So tracking is a very good thing for, I think, any dog, no matter what it is they're going to do in life, for the focus value. And for a protection dog, I think it really is side by side something that they should learn. In Schützensport, which is, if you translate it, is protection dog. Schützen is a German sport, and there's 3 disciplines. There's tracking, there's advanced levels of obedience, and there's protection work itself. So I call it bite work. And dogs get judged on all 3 different disciplines, and then the dog that has the highest score averaged over those 3 disciplines wins the competition. So we're always looking to build those 3 things. Again, Sweet Pea is a great little dog, and she's going to be even greater as she gets more life experience. At her age, she's going to be goofy. With her breed being a Malinois, that just goes hand in hand with that. And so we're going to be dealing with that. But as you'll see in the video, even out in heavy levels of distraction that we had her in over at the dropping class that we had outdoors a few nights ago. Put some video in here for you to see on that. She's got tons of potential. I'm really excited for her future, and I'll be here all the way. So thanks for your trust in us, and I hope you enjoyed the tracking video, and we look forward to telling you more about it in person. Happy training.